Congratulations! You made it through. If you watched the show, you know what that means.
Yeah, it's like an inside joke, except for it's not funny.
This is episode 26. Take care of yourself. Wow.
This was a roller coaster of an episode.
It was interesting because the whole time I'm watching it, I feel like so much of it was a response to what we said in the previous episode.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's weird. Do you want to... What did you think?
I don't know, because... Alright, so I like the part where it, like, framed it like a stereotypical anime.
That's one of my favorite scenes in the entire show.
It was fun. It was a really good critique of, like, this is... Because it was all about, you know, how Shinji could kind of create his own perception. And it's like, you could... And this is what we were talking about yesterday, where it's like the super saccharine, like, everything's awesome. Like, even when you're embarrassed because you run into the blue-haired babe that comes to your school, in the end, like, it all turns out well and everyone's happy. And how that's, like, equally not a good existence.
No.
Basically.
And I think it's also funny because that's his idea. Like, they say, okay, you can do anything you want and make your own world, and then that's the world he creates.
Yeah. It's the most mundane, stereotypical, like...
I also think it's the best example of, like, a meta-narrative in this entire show.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's also 100%, oh, this is what you guys want Evangelion to be. You want it to be a normal show like all the other ones. Is this what
you want it to be Dragon Maid?
Is this what you... Okay, Dragon Maid is good. I don't want to...
Okay, well, then what's, like, a bad anime that would be like? Like,
Lucky
what is
Star.
Like, what is an anime that...
Lucky Star, I guess.
Lucky Star, Fruit Basket.
Fruits Basket, yeah. Or Ruby or Sword Art Online or anything like that. I don't know. All the ones like K-On! And stuff, I have, like, things that are... Like, or Dragon Maid have things that I like about it.
I just love that... We were watching it, and then Travis is like, you would not believe how often the running with toast in your mouth
That's
is
like a huge cliche, is like the girl or guy is late for school and they have toast in their mouth.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost a big cliche as like the guy gets hit by a truck on his way to school or something. That's like how like 40% of mundane animes like this start out.
Just run into school with toast in your mouth.
But it's a great... First of all, it's a really interesting scene because I think it's... Weirdly enough, one of the more confusing and almost harrowing scenes in the episode.
It's so freaky.
Considering...
I hate it.
But that's what it's so smart about it, because everything before it was so freaky. With like the whole pencil test scene and all the really interesting animation out there stuff.
Yeah.
But then the most confusing scene is the one that's presented as a normal scene.
Yes.
Which is so smart.
Which is smart, yeah. Which is really good.
Also,
this is a very good payoff for the last episode.
Have you ever heard the phrase baloney pony used in a drama? No.
Is that something they would say?
No!
No, like in like another anime.
No, that must have been like they were recording this and the script supervisor or the director was like, hey, it'll be funny if we say baloney pony here.
Maybe they're just really going, I don't want to make the joke, but really going ham on like...
But it's like...
I'm making it like really like...
We could see the translation. The original translation was like, are you riding him or something like that. So that was...
Is that something that would be said?
Right, are you riding him or something like that? Yeah, totally.
Like in Lucky Star.
Yeah, baloney pony, that's something they did in the localization or something, and they just were having fun with it.
I'll call her Reggie.
I just love... I love that Masato comes in, she says, what's up, dudes? We got a blue-haired babe for you. And it's...
And the best part, and I know this is an anime trope, is when Masato comes up and they're like, oh, she's so hot. And then she like flips her hair and there's like a shing. And I know like, that's a thing.
It's such a good critique, and it's so funny too, because I read a review, because before we were watching this, I was like, I'm just going to read some reviews on my anime list to see, and I feel like it has to be satire, but there's a chance it might not be. There's like a 1-star review on my anime list, and it's like, this show sucked, I hated it, except for the scene where Shinji and Asuka were late for school. I liked that.
That has to be a satire.
But it makes me think, like, there are people who probably watch this show, and they're like, oh, you know, that was interesting. Everything else was dumb and confusing. I like that. Because that's what a lot of people want.
But it's also interesting because the robots fighting robots is also an anime stereotype.
Yeah. And this whole thing is a deconstruction of Mobile Suit Gundam, which is like the big one at the time. But yeah, it is...
And what's perfect about it is that it's a satire by literally just presenting it like
almost
any other
completely
show.
straight. Yeah. And I think it's even more interesting when you think, okay, sometimes in this show though, they did some of these tropes.
Exactly.
They felt, and I think they're aware of the fact that they've done that. And
oh my gosh.
they're trying to.
Well, they started out with Misato's theme.
Yeah, that's
like the penguin and Misato like packing away beers and like Shinji like cooking in the kitchen and being like, "Oh, Misato, what are you doing?"
They're not even trying to act like they're better than it. Really, it's just these two episodes put together as one ending is so fascinating and so different from anything else I've ever seen.
It's really interesting. I don't know about that last scene though.
Well, we'll get to there because that'll tie into how we talk about it as an ending. I thought this was interesting, and this ties in with the last one too. Just the idea of they push this a lot in this one. Shinji, nobody understands me. I'm the only one who thinks the way I think. I think that's a great thing too because that's such a teenager mentality, and it's the most childish thing ever.
Yes, it is.
But everyone does it.
I
still do it. I still do it.
And then they turn it around. They say, "Yep, nobody else thinks the way you think, so that's why." ... And then they go into like.
But I like it because like this is again they're saying we know that people do these things, we do them too, but let's criticize it because we know it's bad as well.
Yeah.
Because that's why I think this show would be such a great thing to introduce to like sophomores in high school. Because I feel like people that age could watch this and get sort of a better understanding of how they're feeling, like puberty-wise, growing up-wise, and how they see the world. I think this could be like a high school text. I guess you would know that better than I would.
I mean, I think you would need to have specific students who have experience with the animation.
With the American system and how it's built up now, obviously, it would be really dumb.
No,
it wouldn't make
but
any sense.
But like, if there's a student like who has experience, who's read Fruits Basket when they were in middle school, who watched
I don't
Lucky
think
Star.
you need to have that to understand.
I think you kind of do, though.
You think
to
so?
have that background knowledge, because if you're really going to fully understand how they're criticizing their characters, you need to be able to understand the tropes of the genre.
That's interesting.
And while I haven't seen... while I haven't seen all of Lucky Star, like, I still know what the stereotypes of the anime genre are. Just because I've talked with you, I've read manga before, like, I know the general...
Yeah, I can't even begin to think about that perspective just because I've seen so many animes.
Yeah.
So that's hard too for me because it feels second nature.
But that's an important part of the satire.
Yeah.
And just like if you go to The Onion and you read, like, a satire sports article, you still need to be able to you need to know the basics of, like, football in order to understand their satire of, like, concussions in the NFL. So, like, I feel like in order to watch this, you have to have a basic understanding of genre tropes.
This was interesting. I know they're really pushing you are created by those around you. I thought that was a beautiful piece of imagery and really smart way to visually tell it when they had Shinji and his body was transparent and then for about a minute it just flashed all the people around him. It's like that's a really smart visual way to say that.
Because you are your experiences and your experiences are predicated on the people around you.
And that's hard to convey visually. That's almost impossible.
Which is why, having an anime and any kind of like drawn animation or representation of something, it's easier to convey those ideas.
And that whole scene where it's like storyboards and pencil tests and he's flipping around, you can do whatever you want. Oh, you've given yourself a ground. You have that privilege to walk, but you no longer have the privilege to fly.
Yeah.
That's another just like... you're saying something that's really smart if I was reading it in a book, but I like it so much better that you're conveying it visually because I feel like that's almost more difficult to do. You have more restrictions, if you will.
Yeah.
I wrote Bologna Pony down.
Bologna Pony.
Yeah, so here's the elephant in the room. How does this ending serve as a satisfying conclusion to a series where you've watched 26 episodes? And while this is a fantastic, beautiful, insightful piece of entertainment, I think it fails as an ending.
I think the last scene just does not work.
They try, because they have that great alternate universe scene, and then they try and like, oh, we've got one more minute of this episode, we need to wrap up everything.
Yeah.
And there's just too much to wrap. And
what I think would have been brilliant is if they would have just ended with him in like this world. And it's like, yep, you thought this was horrifying, but wait, like what we're actually consuming on a daily basis is way more horrifying than what we're producing.
I like that.
That would have been great.
That would have been great.
Or at the end, maybe just like a close up of his face or something of him being like, "This is the world I created," or like something like that, and just ending it there. And we know that they're satirizing this,
yes.
So we know that they don't think this is a positive thing to do, because what they're advocating for is not like, "Yep, I have all these negative feelings. Let me just paint over all of it, put some spackle on it, and then pretend like I'm in this happy, awesome anime show."
That's such a great metaphor to use for that, because that's obviously what's going on with the characters.
Yeah.
But using your medium as a metaphor for a character arc is really interesting.
Yeah. So I feel like they should have just ended it there, and Shinji chose to live in this world where nothing wrong could possibly happen, and that's worse than a world where everything wrong could happen.
I think what the very ending, is trying to convey is almost a cautionary tale. The idea of... Because I believe the ending is he accepts instrumentality.
Yeah.
That's what this ending is supposed to be. And I think it's supposed to be the dangers... Because everyone's just saying, congratulations, you're great. I think it's also supposed
But it's also unsettling.
It's unsettling. I think it's supposed to be that way of, this is the problem that comes with living in a hive mind hug box where everybody agrees with you and praises you. It doesn't convey that.
AKA our YouTube channel.
You could have said a million things that would have made more sense.
No, the joke was that not everybody agrees with us and we don't have a hive mind because we don't have a lot of people.
I don't think it conveys that idea well enough. I think it's caught between trying to wrap things up in a conclusion with a bow in 2 seconds and then not trying to wrap it up at all and leave it open-ended.
Mm-hmm.
And it should have gone full force in either direction. Like you said, was brilliant. I think that would have been fantastic.
I think what it really needs is like that transition between him killing Kwaru and then where we're getting to in this episode. Because like, if I don't really I understand human instrumentality is this thing, but if it's just kind of this like ephemeral, like, yep, this happened, like for me it just doesn't feel like actual stakes almost.
And what gets it for me, too, is we really only get the end of Shinji's story.
Mm-hmm.
And I have become so attached to characters like Asuka, Masato, Ritsuko, even Gendo. I want to see what happens to them. You assume it's the same thing.
Yeah.
But it's not satisfying.
It's kind of implied that, yep, they've already all accepted it.
It's not, looking at, okay, I put 26 episodes into this, I'm happy walking away from this. I'm not. I haven't seen enough to walk away from this.
I can understand why people...
I can understand why a lot of people don't like this. And if I didn't know, watching this, that there was a huge piece of the puzzle missing, I don't think I would hold this show in such a high regard. If it was just these 26 episodes, I'd be like, that was great, that was exciting. They did not... The ending was fascinating, but it works better as an art house short film just to watch for what it is, than it does the conclusion to a series.
I really think it's that last scene. It's so strange, but not in like the... it's just something that just doesn't belong in the universe of the story.
And it's weird because they're like standing on top of the globe, and every single character has to say, congratulations. I just have no idea, really, like concretely what that's trying to convey. I don't know if it's supposed to be like, this is bad, this is good. And I get that it doesn't have to have an answer, but they should be trying to make a distinct decision or direction with what it is, and I'm not getting that at all.
Yeah, you can almost feel like that lack of direction.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it doesn't necessarily have to mean something, but it has to have a direction or a path to
Like I said, if these 2 episodes existed as a short film, you'd be like, wow, that was great, but you kind of have a responsibility for a series to wrap it up. People hold endings to a series in really high regard. It's the last thing you see. It's often the thing that's on your mind.
It's really
most
hard
when you
to
think
do.
about it. It's really hard to do it well, but it almost, in some ways, feels like this show... Maybe they were intimidated by having to do it well, so they said, we're just going to go left field. We're not even going to try. Which is almost more interesting considering some of the things they talk about in these episodes.
But it's also kind of... like yep, we know it can't be perfect, so we're just gonna
do whatever we want.
Throw whatever we want on there, and then we're gonna go get a burger.
And that's what's conflicting. That's what's great about this show, is their whole idea of, how does this work on an episode? How does this work on a show? These 2 episodes work great. As an ending, no, not really.
I think really is that last scene. That
weirdest thing is I don't think they knew they were making a movie when this came out. I think it's another 2 years maybe until the movie comes out. So for a while, this was Evangelion, which is bizarre.
It feels like the ending feels a little rushed.
It's so... It's like I said, it's like you have that wonderful alternate universe scene that really, really makes you think, and then it's like, oh, we gotta get out of here. We gotta go. We gotta get this done. Oh, we're done.
Yeah.
That's
what
it's
it feels
paced very roughly, but we have a movie. We have an hour and a half movie, which is a wonderful gift. How do you guys think these endings compare? This is one of the more subjective things with any show that I've ever seen. If this works for you as an ending or even just as entertainment on your own, I feel like is 100% on your own personality and experiences. Mm-hmm. I can't say anything about this is objectively good.
No.
But it resonates with me.
Yeah. So we will see how the movie goes.
Aptly enough, the end of Evangelion is the title of the movie.
It's also the end of our series.
Yes.
So.
Okay, well.
We'll see you then.